let me let me preface my comments with 3 points, which I think we should all keep in mind when we look at the current crisis. First is that this is an absolutely unprecedented situation for the whole world. So, we don't easily have rule books that are tried and tested. So we got to keep that in mind. Second, we're not the only country affected. So there's a lot of experience elsewhere. So whatever we say about things are working or not working in India, we got to keep in mind what's happening in other countries also. And the third is actually, even today, there are huge uncertainties. So whatever I say, please keep in mind that these are some overarching limitations within which you have to look at these comments. Now let me come to your specific question. I mean, I know that there was an impression given that somehow if we were to lock down for 21 days, then we will overcome Corona. I think there was a comparison made that Mahabharata took 18 days, this is going to take 21. I don't think technically that was ever sort of the international view of what the role of a lockdown is. I think the role of a lockdown always was to what they call flatten the infection curve and stretch out the period during which infections build up, which gave you a little more time to build up the health infrastructure. So now the question arises, did it flatten the curve? Well, the short answer is, we certainly had relatively few infections during the lockdown period. We don't have the counter comparison, what it would have been without the lockdown. And I think there is a problem that, we're not doing enough testing. So there are big questions about what is actually the rate of infection even today. But the real issue is, assuming that some flattening during the lockdown took place, did we actually succeed in building up health infrastructure? Now, I don't have the information, and I don't think it's been made public, exactly how much was built up, because this would require, what did the central government do? What did the state governments do? I think we do know that some steps were taken, that some equipment was procured, some additional beds were arranged, but exactly what they were, I really don't know. So we're not in a position, I think, firmly to say that during this 2-week period, this is what we actually did in terms of strengthening the hospital facilities. And certainly we're not in a position to say, well, this was enough. Because to say the latter, that it was enough, you have to have some modeling of what the infection rate would be. And I've not seen any estimates of that. Now, this is all to be put into the general cover that there is huge uncertainty. I mean, all these epidemiological models are very approximate, and models borrowed from one country may or may not apply in India. So I don't know whether that's a good answer to your question, but that's the way I see it. Certainly wasn't meant to couldn't have been meant to put an end to the virus. The only thing it could have been meant for is to stretch out the rate of infection, build-up of infection, in order to allow the health infrastructure to be built.